Darkness. Heavy silence hung in the air. Lord Cavendish's face, pale and drawn, flickered in the dim light. "Gone!" he whispered, his voice trembling. "The Emerald Eye! It's gone!" The vault door stood open, its intricate lock tampered with, cold steel glinting under the single lantern held aloft. The velvet cushion, usually home to the Cavendish family's prized emerald, lay bare. Inspector Davies, a man of solid build and a reassuringly calm demeanour, surveyed the scene. This was no ordinary robbery, this was the work of a professional. "We'll find it, Lord Cavendish," Inspector Davies assured, his voice firm. Little did he know this case would test his every skill and lead him down a path more twisted than he could have imagined. Another case, Watson. A large, scruffy dog, more akin to a bear than a terrier, thumped his tail against the worn floorboards of the detective's office. Bartholomew Barty Holmes, named after his famous namesake by his mystery-loving parents, chuckled, a deep, rumbling sound. "Indeed, Watson," he said, scratching the dog's ears, "and this one promises to be particularly intriguing." Barty, unlike his fictional counterpart, relied not on deduction, but on his extraordinary sense of smell. His nose, more powerful than any police sniffer dog, could pick up the faintest scent, even days after it had been laid. The telegram clutched in his hand, a summons from Inspector Davies, spoke of a stolen emerald and a desperate plea for help. Barty, his curiosity piqued, reached for his battered hat. It was time for him and Watson to get to work. Cavendish Manor loomed grey and imposing against the backdrop of the stormy sky. Rain lashed down, mirroring the turmoil within its walls. Barty, his keen eyes missing nothing, observed the nervous glances exchanged between the house staff, the hushed whispers quickly silenced when they noticed his gaze. "The staff, Lord Cavendish?" Barty inquired, his voice deceptively mild. "Were any of them aware of the emerald's existence?" Lord Cavendish, his face etched with worry, shook his head. The Emerald Eye was a family secret known only to a select few. But as Barty watched the staff scurry away, he couldn't shake the feeling that someone knew more than they were letting on. The air, thick with suspicion and secrets, was ripe with the scent of deceit. The scent, faint but distinct, led Barty and Watson through the manicured gardens of Cavendish Manor. It was the smell of freshly turned earth and crushed lavender, a combination that could only mean one thing: the gardener, old Silas, his hands gnarled with years of tending the land, denied any knowledge of the emerald. His eyes, though, darted nervously towards the house, landing on a young maid, her face pale and drawn. "Mary," Silas mumbled, his voice barely audible. She was asking about the family treasures just the other day." Mary, when confronted, burst into tears, confessing that she had indeed been curious about the emerald, but that she would never dream of stealing it. Her alibi, checked and rechecked, held firm. Barty, though, wasn't convinced. There was something off about their reactions, a discordant note in their stories. He had a hunch, and sometimes a hunch was all he needed. Back in the vault, Barty noticed something peculiar. A fine, almost invisible green dust coated the velvet cushion where the Emerald Eye once lay. He carefully collected a sample, the scent barely perceptible to even his extraordinary nose. It was the scent of emeralds, but not just any emerald. This was the unique scent of the Cavendish Emerald Eye. The thief, it seemed, hadn't been as careful as they thought. They had left a trail that Barty and his extraordinary nose were determined to follow. The scent, faint but persistent, led them out of the manor, away from the nervous staff and the red herrings they represented, and into the nearby village towards a destination unknown. The antique shop was crammed full of forgotten treasures, the air thick with the smell of dust and old wood. Its owner, a wiry man with eyes like a hawk, eyed Barty and Watson with suspicion. "I'm looking for something," Barty stated, his voice calm but firm. "Something that was recently acquired." The scent, stronger now, led them to a cabinet in the corner, its glass doors locked. Inside, displayed on a bed of velvet, sat a collection of gemstones, and amongst them, unmistakable even from a distance, gleamed the Emerald Eye. The shopkeeper, his face pale, protested his innocence, claiming he had bought the emerald from a stranger, a man in a hooded cloak, just the day before. Barty, though, had him dead to rights. The faint scent of green dust clung to the shopkeeper's sleeve, the same dust he had found in the vault. The shopkeeper, cornered, confessed. He had been approached by the mysterious figure, offered a hefty sum for a single emerald that matched the Cavendish heirloom. But who was this mysterious figure? Watson, who had been unusually quiet throughout the investigation, suddenly perked up. He whined, pawing at the shopkeeper's leg, his nose twitching excitedly. Barty recognized that look. It was the look Watson got when he recognized a scent that was both familiar and unsettling. Following Watson's insistent tugs, they found themselves back at the Manor, standing outside a door Barty had yet to open, the door to Lord Cavendish's study. The study, dimly lit and smelling of old books and pipe tobacco, was empty, but on the desk lay a single glove. A glove Barty recognized from his examination of the vault. It was Lord Cavendish's glove. The realization struck Barty like a bolt of lightning. Lord Cavendish, desperate to save his family from financial ruin, had orchestrated the entire charade. He had hired the thief, planted the red herrings, even used his knowledge of the Cavendish emerald to mislead Barty. The emerald, Barty knew, would be long gone by now, sold to some unsuspecting buyer, its true origins lost forever. But as he watched Lord Cavendish break down, confessing his crime with tears streaming down his face, Barty couldn't help but feel a pang of sympathy for the man. The scandal rocked the community. Lord Cavendish, stripped of his title and fortune, disappeared from public life. The Emerald Eye was never recovered. Barty, sitting in his study, Watson curled up at his feet, pondered the case. It had been a thrilling chase, a puzzle box of clues and red herrings. Every case teaches us something, Watson, he mused, stroking the dog's fur. And this one had taught him that even the most seemingly respectable people harbor secrets that can drive them to desperate measures. He leaned back in his chair, the scent of pipe tobacco and the quiet snores of his faithful companion filling the air. Another case closed, another mystery solved.